Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the new Asia Rugby Championship, and greetings to you from the Namdong Rugby Ground here in Incheon, Korea. This new international format pits the top 3 teams in Asia against each other in a home and away series. And we start this international competition here in Incheon with South Korea, the host nation, taking on Japan. The other team taking part in the 3-man competition is, of course, Hong Kong. We have a bright sunny day, but don't let that fool you. It's also a bit cold out here, but we're delighted to welcome you and a big crowd starting to come into the stadium here, this new stadium in Namdong, and we're delighted that they're going to be here to cheer on the teams. There's the graphic for you, the final standings of the 214 ASEAN 5 nations, and you see Japan, Hong Kong and Korea finishing on top, and the Philippines and Sri Lanka, the bottom 2 teams in that 5. But what a great series it was. It was a very exciting series, and of course that's why we have the top 3 teams of Korea, Japan and Hong Kong now taking part in this competition. I'm joining in commentary by the expert Asia rugby writer, journalist and broadcaster from Kyoto News, Rich Freeman. Rich, good afternoon. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, good afternoon, Colin. Good afternoon, everybody. From a warm, maybe a bit cold for the people travelling up from Hong Kong and Thailand, but I think for the players, perfect conditions today. Sunny day, great conditions underfoot, so hopefully a very exciting, flowing game of rugby.
And when you say exciting, also a lot of new faces in both sides.
A lot of new faces. Japan have about 16 players unavailable due to injury and Super Rugby commitments, and obviously all those players will be fighting for a spot in the squad of 31 to go to this year's World Cup, while Korea are obviously rebuilding towards the World Cup in 2019.
Yeah, and a bit of pressure on both coaches, because one, you have Japan heading to the World Cup, and you have Korea, the host nation, here under a fair bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, I mean the Koreans, obviously it's a tough game for them against the #1 team in Asia. They've got the home support. For Eddie Jones though, it's all about the World Cup, and he'll obviously be hoping to get off to a great start with the win over here.
There you see the arrival of the 2 teams, Japan in the red going to the right, and the home nation in white with the blue toppings and the red and blue bands around the middle. As I said, a very experienced side, and there's experienced players in both sides. And the officials out there in charge, we have 3 officials, and they come from New Zealand and Australia, but they're based in Hong Kong, and that's Tim Baker who will be in charge, and also with him is Steve Copeland and Matt Rodman. Now arriving out there is the Vice President of the Korean Rugby Union, Won Jung-shong. He's been introduced to the teams as they go along the line, and also with him there is Lee Sang-ung, the President of the Incheon Rugby Union. So they're actually separated, and they're both going down the lines of the 2 teams. And you can see there the man from the president from the Incheon Rugby Union, Lee Sung, and he's shaking hands with the Korean players, and now you have the Japanese players there as well. And going right along is the vice president of the Korean Rugby Union, Won Jung-shong. And now the 2 gentlemen will come together in the middle again. They have done their duties. Now they will cross over and exchange as they go down each line. As I said, Rich, there's a lot of experience, but also a lot of youngsters out there.
They are. I mean, for the Japan team, the man just shook hands there, Luke Thompson, celebrating his 50th game, a milestone for the big lock. On the other side, you've got obviously Chihito Matsui, who's playing his first game for his country today. So a lot of pressure on that young man, and as I say, they're all fighting for World Cup places.
Yeah, and you're talking of Matsui, the man I fastened and called the speed merchant was Fujita, but Matsui, you're going to tell us a little bit later, is a real speed merchant extraordinary. So maybe Usain Bolt should have to look out for his position as far as sprinting is concerned with these 2 guys around. Now you have the Vice President and the President departing, but now we're going to have 1 minute silence in remembrance of the Seawall ferry disaster which occurred 12 months ago in this country. So 1 minute silence as the people
anthem, we're going to pay 1 minute silent tribute to the 1-year anniversary for Seoul Ferry to present our condolences.
동동 응용력
The spectators will continue to stand as we now have the national anthems of both teams, starting with the national anthem of Japan.
경기장 내 선수단 TVN 여러분과 교수께서는 모두 국기를 향해 주시기 바랍니다.
Before beginning the match, national anthems will be played. The national anthem of Japan will be played first, and the Korean national anthem will be played right after Japan's anthem. All players and audience, please face to the flag.
네, 이어서 애국가 연주가 있겠습니다.
Now, Korean national anthem will be played.
The final strains of the national anthem from Korea, and you notice there the players, some of them with their hands on their breast and others saluting, and they are of course members of the armed forces. So the two teams, and there's the starting lineup for the Korean team. Jang Sung-min, the player who's, well, he actually can play all over the park, but he's at fullback. Jungle Bin and Kim Gwang-min. Look out for those two pretty speedsters. Who else in that side, Rich, should we look out for? Kim Ho-bom?
Lee Myung-jun is also a very good player. He's from the military, and Han Kyung-kyu, who's one of the standout players at the Hong Kong Sevens recently.
Yeah, and a lot of details have been sent out around the world. And Kim Jeep, the man who is the hooker, he says, will I please tell everyone in the world that he's actually 1 meter 1.5 instead of what was printed. There's the lineup for Japan. A lot of youngsters in there, Rich.
Yes, there are obviously Fujito and Matsui forming the back three with Ayumu Gorumaru. Khan Hesketh playing in the unfamiliar position of number 13. The rest of the side, as I say, fighting, especially in the back row, for places for the World Cup squad.
And of course, Justin Ives there wearing the number 6.
He is, yep, coming in. He's usually playing lock. He's missed all of last season with injury, so it's going to be a big call for him to see if he can last the full 80 minutes.
And there's a very strong reserve side for the Koreans and also for the Japanese side, so Eddie Jones can switch and bring in players both in the front and in the back.
Yeah, 2 uncapped players in the Japan reserves, Usami and Murata, and on the Korean bench, Shin Dong-won, who spent 7 years playing in Japan.
There's the coach, Eddie Jones, very experienced official, 54 years of age, now in charge of the Japanese team. And of course, they're heading for the World Cup, something that Eddie is really looking forward to. And there's the coach for the Korean side, Jung Hyun-suk. They have done all their hard work. Now it's up to the players to carry out that hard work that has happened in training over the last couple of weeks. Tim Baker is ready to get the action underway. And as I said, Tim is going to be assisted by one man from his home country in Wellington. That's Matthew Rodden. And Matthew is on the far side, and on the near side is the young man from Australia, Steve Copeman. Both of them, 3 of them I should say, all affiliated to the Hong Kong Rugby Union. Away we go, and straight away the team playing from left to right in red and black shorts in the Japanese side. But the Koreans are able to hold it up.
오늘 경기는
Lose the ball,
점수는
unfortunately, and now
90분으로
the Japanese
진행되겠습니다.
can go on the attack.
The 2015 Asian Rugby
Just
Championship
over the
between
line
Korea
in front
and
of the
Japan.
speedster.
Japan and
This is
Korea just began battle over free.
seeing
The match consists of 40 minutes each of the first and the second half, and resting for 10 minutes.
The number 14, Matsui.
Matsui almost scored with his first touch there. The ball just ran out a little bit too far, but it's very important for Korea that they do hold on to the ball. They talked about it yesterday, that they've got to make sure of their ball retention, and then we have the first breakdown and Japan force a turnover.
Boy Hyun-jung with the clearance, and it's collected in by the Japanese. They can move it forward, but they're going to allow their forwards to do most of the battle as they get it out. They turn it back again. That is Hawasa, the scrum half, getting it out to the far side. A couple of Japanese players in there.
Number 5,
Referee gave them a quick free kick, and they were able to move away. That's Maru up in the line with the ball, but comes back to Thompson, and they can flash it out, and going right through the middle is Tatikawa. But the Koreans get over the top of it, and you can see the hand out there from Tim Baker, penalising them for going in, I would think, in at the side, and he awards the penalty. He said the ball was held up, so it was a bit of a ruck, and straight away he gives an opportunity to Gorumaru.
Yeah, Japan's all-time point scorer is going to take the points on offer. Some good play earlier on between the forwards and backs. Tatikawa seeing the break and going for it. Earlier, before that, Khan Hesketh showing that 13, he's got the power to play in the centre. So a good start for Japan, and obviously if they get 3 points on the board, it'd be even better.
Exactly, and I would say that would satisfy Eddie Jones, who wanted a quick start, and he's going to get it here, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. It's the ideal start, get points on the board, just settle the team, and they obviously then receive the ball from the kickoff as well, and they get back up there.
So Gorumaru very successful with this kicking. And he has a certain style, a little bit like Johnny Wilkinson at the dress, but now he shuffles a little 1 or 2 steps and puts it straight between the uprights. So Japan off to a very, very good start by 3 points to 0. But nice combination, as you said, Rich, between the backs and the forwards, and I'm sure that'll please Eddie. because he's preparing for things in the future in the World Cup.
I mean, obviously one of the things Japan have to work on with the World Cup in mind is to create mismatches, and that's to get their backs up against the big forwards, and we saw it there. Tatekawa had the slight mismatch, saw the gap in midfield, then he used his pace over the gain line, and the Koreans penalised at the breakdown.
Oh Young-hung with the kick, and that is going to be taken in, but was it dropped? No, it wasn't. There was the side, but they can run it again. Maru gets it across, and now they have a chance on the far side with Tamura, and right beside Tamura is Karen Heskett. They rotated again, but that's bounced off the chest. Came off the chest of the Japanese player. He blast on the whistle. He's going to bring them back. We're going to have a scrum knocked forward. Tim Baker.
Hesketh again showing what a bit of an enigma of a player he is. He's not the quickest player in the world. He hasn't actually played a great deal of rugby, usually used off the bench for 20 minutes a game by Sanix, but he's a very powerful runner. And again, he made the break out of the 22, and then just a handling error, allowing Korea to have a scrum.
So the scrum to be fed by their number 9, the 25-year-old Lee Myung-jung, who is also a member of the armed forces in Korea. He's only 5'8", but a tough character, Lee Myung-jung. But the referee not happy, so he's getting him to go back down again. Just having a look at the Korean back line. They're spread out a little bit, so if they can win the ball, they'll have to travel a fair bit. Japanese up in the line as well. He's got the scrum straightened out, and the Japanese try to wheel it around a bit. The Koreans get the ball through Kong Hyung, but the blast on the whistle says they weren't separated and awards a penalty to Korea. And they're going to have a shot at goal, and it's Oh Young-jung.
Lee Smith said yesterday, Lee Smith's the coach who's been helping out the Koreans for the last 3 years. He said they've got a good goal kicker, and obviously any penalties he'll be stepping up to the mark to take the kicks. The Korean scrum held themselves pretty well there actually. Hobgood and Iwasa put a bit of pressure on the halfback, but obviously it was done so illegally according to the referee, and this gives Korea a chance to get right back into the game.
I think they did a little bit of your trick, dropping the old shoulder and moving sideways a bit.
Done anything like that.
No, not half. It's been reported and recorded, you doing that. Here's the penalty shot for Korea. Head coach Jung Hyung-suk looking on as Lee Myung-jung with the kick.
Good kick. It's got the home crowd going. There's a lot of fans in the main stand here, and they're obviously very happy to see Korea level with Japan after 7 minutes at 3-3.
Yeah, actually, I should have mentioned this earlier, that the Korean side are playing with a bit of a breeze blowing from the right of your screen. There is Kuramaru with the appearance, and the restart collected in by Young Hwang-woo. And they can hold on to the ball now. They can try and rotate it out the back. Lee Myung-jung gets it, but half blocked. Good charge down by Ives was the man that went in, and also Hopgood. The Japanese have it again. They can rotate it out to the far side to Halani. Far side. Far side. Fujita didn't get an opportunity, didn't get space in front of him, but the Japanese continue, and then it flicked off the hand, but it's gone backwards, allowed to continue. There is Tamura, and also you see there the number 3, Hatakeyama, the captain, leading by example, hand stretched out, missed the ball, knock on this side, and the referee is going to allow the play to continue. Now he's going to haul it all up. Hopgood was ready to pounce there, wearing the number 7 for Japan. And there's the number 14 you saw, Matsui, getting involved early, isn't he?
He is getting involved early. Would have been nice to have seen a bit quicker ball there actually, because he had an overlap.
Yep.
But that's 3 handling errors for Japan in 9 minutes, which obviously won't please Eddie Jones. A lot of new combinations though, so maybe take a little bit of time to settle down.
Yeah, but I think he will like that, Rich, to be honest about it. He's seeing sort of new moves by a lot of the young players.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're trying to get involved. That's what they've got to do. Help them settle down, especially Matsui. He was very nervous yesterday, so give him the ball in hand and he'll hopefully settle down and show us the jet shoes that he supposedly has. Eddie Jones was saying yesterday he looks like Astro Boy, and
bit of a problem there in the front row by the Korean threesome up there. Park Sung-kung and Kim Jeep and Kim Kwang-sik seem to be pushed off the ball, and then they ran sideways again, but Tim Baker has got them to go back down again. Steady. Korea win the strike. Kim Jeep, good strike, and away they go up the middle. There's a flashing start from the Koreans from the back, and that's Lee Myung-jung. They can move it forward. The Japanese are trying to get around, but they got it again. They can recycle it. Lee Myung-jung gets it way over to the far side, and that is Kim Na-mook. Kim Na-mook, the 27-year-old, gets it back again for the Koreans. So they leave the ball behind, and as Tim said, the referee has allowed the play to continue because the Japanese have it, and it is Justin Ives was in there, also Luke Thompson, and then the little kick comes from the number 9, Wasa. The Japanese were right up on top of them, especially the speedsters. There's a good clearance, good long kick, good clearance.
I think the Korean forwards will be very happy with that kick by Oh, because the fullback Jang obviously looked to run out. He's a speedster, he likes to run with the ball in hand, but early on in a test match like this you just want to play the territory, and Oh certainly did that with a great clearance kick up to the halfway line.
Throw in far side, but the wind taking it again, and not straight, as we all could see. And Tim Baker, the referee, was right behind that, saw the wind catching a hold of it.
Yeah, it's deceptively blustery down there. It seems to have picked up as well since we've kicked off, so that's something that Kizu will obviously have to think about when he's throwing into these tall lumps of timber in the second row.
Yeah, we're feeling a little bit of that breeze up here in the commentary box high up in the grandstand. Korea getting set again. Lee Myung-jung, the 25-year-old. 5'8", got to put it in. Again, good strike by Kim Jeep, and they can take it out the back. Now they give it away to Kim Na-mook. Kim Na-mook taken to ground. But they have it again. Continue to move it forward. Young Kwang-woo back again. The Koreans running around. That is Oh Young-woo wearing the number 10 handout. The penalty going to go to the Koreans, and they take it very quickly, and away he goes again. Lee Myung-jung right through the middle, and he gives it away to Jang Sung-ming. Jang Sung-ming, what a great run.
The two men we talked about at the start of the game, Lee the halfback and Jang the fullback, combining well there. Former pupils of Christchurch Boys High School will remember Daniel Shin, who's Shin Dong-won. He was saying yesterday that Lee, this halfback, is a great player. He sparked it, that's his second good break. Fullback though looks injured having made the try, which will obviously be a bit cause of concern for Korea, and obviously for Japan a cause of concern is their defence and the number of errors that they're making.
There's the great break out of the back from Lee Myung-jung, and hands it over to Jang Sung-ming, and Jang Sung goes right in under the posts, but as you can see there he got a bit of tackle. There's the break, Jim. Great break.
Yeah, electric break by Lee. He's shown a couple of times he's a danger man there.
Jet legs, is that what we call it?
Matsui sort of did well to get back there, but he's not the biggest player in the world, and obviously the tackle came in too late, and a great try for Korea.
Yes, that's going to be a bit of a shock to the system as far as the as far as the Japanese are concerned, and conversion completed, and we're out to the Koreans leading by 10 points to 3.
That's the best start for Japan. I mean, they've been training very, very hard, and they just look a bit rusty out there at the moment. The combinations aren't clicking, the defense isn't quite there, the scrum hasn't had the strength that we would normally associate it with it, and it's sort of time for them to settle down and play a bit of rugby now.
Ball collected in. That was Jang Sung-wan. The number 7 pulled it in. Now they can rotate it again. Han Jung gives it into the middle. That's where the damage is coming from at the moment. But Kim Ho-bum can't hold on to it. Knocks it forward. It's going to be a scrum to the Japanese side. But I must say, the Koreans have impressed me by breaking down the middle, Rich.
Yeah, they've been playing very well. I mean, there was talk yesterday that they were going to go wide every time and possibly get isolated. Maybe that was just, as I say, talk, and the Japan team sort of believed it because they're using their big forwards, going up the middle, getting over the gain line, and forcing Japan onto the back foot.
Exactly, that might have been. We were hoodwinked, I think, by that suggestion that they were going to go wide. Scrum to Japan. You can see the pressure on the Korean front row there, and the Japanese pushing them off the ball. They got it at the back. Can they move it out? And Hawassa standing back. He's got it. Takes it very quickly. Goes out to the far side. And they have a chance if they can move it left or right. They move it to the right. And the intercept. A fly away by the fullback Jan Song-min. Jan Song-min intercepted that pass from Tatikawa. What a shot.
Big shot. We just said Japan needed to just slow it down, settle down, play some rugby, and then they forced the pass that wasn't on. Jang read it superbly, and then he went the whole way, 80 meters for the second try of the game. And
we take a look at it here and see how it happened. You see the throw from the Japanese player, Tatikawa, and this man stepped in, and he's got a fair bit of speed as well, hasn't he?
He has. He showed it last year. He scored a good try last year in the corner. That's his second today.
Second in about 3 minutes.
I don't think that pass was ever really on.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes again. It was a quick penalty by Japan. Perhaps they should have, bearing in mind they'd just given away a try, perhaps they should have just set for the points and, as I say, just compose themselves a little bit, because all of a sudden now they're 17-3 down.
Oh, Young-hoon puts it right between the posts again. And it means another try for the Koreans, and they're out by 17 points to 3. And everybody that was coming to the ground today was asking the question, how much can what's the score going to be? How are Japanese going to win? I think they're in for a shock, aren't they?
Well, the driver took us to the stadium today. He said if it was 15 to 20 points difference with Japan winning, he would be very happy. I don't think he would ever imagine Korea leading by 14 points.
Clearance from the Japanese goes to Young Kong-woo, and they can rotate it again. Good ball up from Lee Myung-jung, a long ball as well, but this time the clearance, and it's dropped by Kuramaru. Very, very seldom do you see a mistake like that from that experienced player.
Very seldom, but it just sums up today's game so far. It's just been mistake after mistake after mistake, and Korea have capitalized on every error that Japan have made.
Maybe, I suppose, the secret for Eddie Jones is at the moment to tell his Japanese players not to look at the scoreboard. They might be nervous. Well, 17 points to 3. We've been playing 17 minutes, 18 minutes. Scrum to Korea. Lee Myung-jung going to put it in. This is his 5th cap, puts it in. Quick ball, and they got it out the back again, and now they can run it again. Are they going to go with Oh Young-hyung goes out to the far side, and over there was Kim Sung-soo. It goes inside to Sung-wang, another ball inside, but he's got no support. The number 4 that ran up there, Kim Ho-bum, but they can rotate and rotate it again, come out this side with the number 13. They're held up. Kim Sung-soo. Go back to Oh Young. into the middle again. This is where they're power driving and getting over the top and getting the advantage into Kim Na-mook, the number 12. And this time he's cut off a little bit. Mi Young, he was going to start something again. But this time it goes to Kim Sung-soo. And good retention by the Koreans. They come across to Kim Ho-bong wearing the number 4. Also beside him is Park Sung-koo. Waiting for it. Standing out, giving instructions is Oi Young-hyung, and he gets it. Goes inside to the tall lock forward, Han Kong-yu. They retain possession. The Japanese under a lot of pressure, and this time Tim Baker decides an illegal movement forward by the Koreans, and he awards a free kick.
A chance for Japan to clear their lines. Last 2 times I've been to Incheon, it's been interesting because Japan have had the game wrapped up by half-time, but the Koreans turned around and said the second half in both occasions they played the better rugby, and that they just felt that if they could start well, then things could be different, and they certainly started well today.
Yeah, they started. They won a lot of ball at the scrum. That's been the big problem for the Japanese. The Koreans are winning the ball at the scrum and moving it very, very quickly down the middle. Here's a chance, and this time it's the Japanese who collected through Luke Thompson. They can battle forward if they can keep it up. They could make yards, but they don't. Koreans are able to take it down, but Tatikawa wearing the number 10. The Japanese have lost the ball, but they're knocked forward. And Kuramaru going to kick into the corner. He's just inside the Korean half, 5 meters. Good kick. And puts it over the head of the assistant over there, Matthew Rodden from Wellington. As I say, now working as a professional referee in Hong Kong.
Sorry, I was just going to say, this is the type of area where Japan should just slow it down, catch, and then get the rolling ball going, and it looks like that's just what they're about to do.
Captain was the first man to jump there, Kayama. Now if they can keep the ball, they have it at the back. They're trying to move it forward through Kisu. The number 2, the hooker. They're being taken to ground, standing over the top of them. There was Luke Thompson and Justin Ives, but they need to get it out quick, and they do, but it was a little bit too far forward. But they can collect it again. The whistle, last on the whistle.
Another handling error by Japan, and every time it happens, this crowd is getting louder and louder because it's early days yet, but they're sensing something could be on the cards, a huge upset.
This scrum is going to be very interesting. It's in a very good position for the Japanese. They can have a big attack started here, and just looking across the line, right down on this side is Matsui, and it's going to be the Koreans putting the ball into the scrum, but I just wonder whether the Japanese will try to shift them and it goes down. I was thinking they'd put on a bit of a pressure there, Rich.
They could possibly do it. They haven't shown it yet. That big driving scrum that we saw last year just hasn't materialized yet, and that's obviously got to be a cause of concern.
Sure it is, and Eddie Jones and his staff will be trying to figure out what we can do about that. But, it's the Koreans who've been getting over the advantage line, causing all sorts of trouble, as the scoreboard is telling you there on your screen. Korea 17, Japan 3. Yes, that is the exact score at the moment. Surprised a lot of people around the world watching this because they thought it was going to be easy for a very experienced Japanese side, but there's the clearance from the Korean halfback. He's bringing play up towards the halfway line. And again, the throw, we'll actually be able to see it because you're looking right across at it now. We'll see if the wind catches it again. There is a bit of a breeze blowing, even though it has died down. That one is a little bit straighter. And now the Japanese can go forward. There's quite a few of them there, and they can rotate it. They come out to Mikami, the number 1. They move it across this time to Hopgood. Running in off the back of Hopgood was Shoji Ito. Now it's gone back to Kizu. Kizu taken to ground, tackled, and the referee right over the top, but there's a Korean player down injured.
He hasn't moved at all since he made that tackle on Shoji Ito, so obviously a cause of concern. Referee Tim Baker will have to stop play at the moment because he's getting up. He's a tough old fella.
Yeah, and that round of applause from the people in the stand underneath us here in Incheon. Bright sunny day, but a little bit cold. The players have warmed up to this. Meanwhile, the fullback for Japan, Garamaru, sticks it into touch, and we're 8 meters, 10 meters from the corner flag in a good attacking position. Koreans have recovered, and now the throw-in going to come from Kizu. Throws it in down to the back of the line, collected and taken in, but the Japanese nearly lost the ball, but they keep it at the back of the scrum. Kizu is there. I don't think he as a whole, yes, he has now, and they're trying to move forward with it. You can see the Koreans are all over the place, but it's going to be a try, and it is a try right at the back. I don't think it was Kizu in the end.
Hayden Hopgood.
It was Hopgood who eventually dived over. Big, tall man. Hopgood. He's 6'2", 34 years of age, and a big, strong man as well. He's over 17 stone. Wouldn't like him following me.
Been in Japan a number of years, firstly with Toyota Verblitz, and then he moved to Kamaishi Sea Waves, although he's just been released by them, so he's not actually associated with any club at the moment. But that's a lot better for Japan. It's what they needed to do. They had to get one of their trademark plays into effect. They get the driving maul going, as you say. It was almost dropped at the start, but they recovered it well, and Hopgood controlled things from the back and then powered over for the try.
Well, they needed that, didn't they?
Absolutely, they did. Yeah, they had to start getting some points on the board.
Garamaru with the kick. 23 meters out. Oh, good kick. Straight down between the uprights. So it's 17 points to 8.
Has conceded a conversion kick and scored 7 points altogether.
17 points to 10, I should say. I say 17 points to 8.
Koreans obviously now slowing it down. They'd like to see the clock run out as quickly as possible with a 7-point lead. For Japan, I think the thing is to just get back and do what they just did and slow it down and try and get a bit more possession and hold on to it this time.
Exactly, taking the ball forward was Ruahalani, man who has 35 caps, goes into the middle, and the Japanese have it again. They can recycle it out the back. That's a good breakthrough by the number 13 Heskett. We haven't seen a lot of him in this match so far, but the Japanese trying to break up the middle, but strong defense from the Koreans again. Now the Japanese have it, and they can circulate it and bring it out here to the man we're looking forward to seeing, Matsui. He hasn't got a lot of the ball, but he got it that time, but ran into trouble. The Japanese take it forward again through Mikami. Now they go out the back, and to the far side. Ooh, they just missed out, and they're getting it to the speedster on the far side, Fujita. Recycling again, but that pass has gone astray, collected by Mikami. Japanese goes to ground. Now here's the speedster, nice dancing steps from him. They go into the middle to Kizu, the man who wins his 29th cap today, but picked up by the Koreans, and this is Jang Sung-won. Where's the number 7? Lee Myung gets it out the far side, flicked up again, nearly lost and recovered by the Koreans. Ji Gal-bin wearing the number 14, and the referee blast down the whistle, says it was knocked forward.
Superb defence from Korea. I mean, they've come up very quickly. I don't think they've missed a tackle, really. I mean, the only try came from a rolling maul. They've really put the Japan team under pressure, and Japan are struggling at the moment. They're struggling to get over the gain line. They're struggling to get the ball wide, and that's simply down to the Korean defence, which has been absolutely outstanding.
And you have seen a lot more of these two teams than I, but I'll tell you, one of the things I noticed, Rich, is that the Japanese players are starting to talk to each other. Are they questioning each other? Because normally you never see a lot of talking.
I don't think they're questioning each other so much. I think it's just obviously we've got a lot of the backs playing out of position, or new boys. I mean, Hesketh in at 13, Tamura Tatekawa have played 10 and 12. It's just obviously trying to get the communication right so that they can start trying to break down this Korean defence.
Here they go again. The Japanese trying to go up the middle, and that is true. The man you just spoke about, Tatekawa, ball played a little bit too forward, but the Koreans are able to smother it just for a couple of seconds. The Japanese going back in again. They have their runners on both sides of this mall, and they go back to the right. Now a long ball, long one from Tatekawa, and they give it away to Fujita on the far side, and he's tackled. Great tackle, because he's a real speedster, the number 11.
Jang Seung-min is putting his hand up for man of the match already. I mean, he scored 2 tries and then a try-saving tackle there on Fujita. Great defence. It's the first time Japan have actually been able to work the ball wide. As you see here, a great cover tackle from the fullback.
Because if Fujita had sidestepped that, there's no catching him.
No, he would have been over.
He's a speedster. Throw in, far side. For the Koreans, they need to win this ball. Again, the wind catches it a little bit, but the Koreans got up there. And that was Kim Kwang-sik and Kim Ho-bum, and now they can take it out. Left-footed clearance, and it goes down to Matsui. Nearly lost it, but collected by Goromaru. Goromaru leaves it behind and gives it to his inside partner, Hesketh. Hesketh taken to ground. All developing, but the Koreans stepping back, and this time the Japanese are able to take it. The ball was forward.
Sums up Japan's afternoon. A man winning his 50th cap, forcing a pass that probably wasn't on there. It's just been an error-filled day for them. But as I say, a lot of that has been down to the Korean defence.
You don't see Luke Thompson make too many blunders. As you say, this is his 50th cap. And there's the graphics for you, telling you the story of this first half. And we're gone 31 minutes.
Here we see Luke Thompson there. He's just trying to force the pass on to his captain, Takayama. And again, 2 men on him though, so it's credit to the Korean defence.
Yeah, they're in smothering everything. Don't want the Japanese to have any space at all. Ball comes out the back, and the Koreans have it, and it's got to be cleared by Oh Young-hoon, and goes down the far side. A good clearance, or did it go out? No, it didn't, and held in, and they can go back to Goromaru, but he's tackled on the 22. He's able to step out of it, still able to hold on to it. And the Koreans get it, and they're racing down that far side was their number 6, Kim Hyung-soo. But they're penalized, and a relieving clearance for the Japanese by Goromaru.
Relieving being the word once again. Japan under pressure simply by the speed of the Koreans and following up the kick.
Good clearance in the middle. Clean out by the Japanese, very quick as well. Long ball over the top to the speedster. Matsui, what can he do? Oh, he's outflanked them and raced in, and he's got to be into the corner. What a great try for the young man making his debut in international rugby for Japan, Matsui. The 22-year-old, what a speedster.
Well, Eddie Jones said he had jet shoes, we saw it there.
He got away from the defence, ran around him. You would have thought he was going to cut himself off as far as space was concerned, but he didn't.
He's not the biggest player in the world. Eddie Jones said yesterday, he said he thought he had left half his body back at Doshisha University where he plays his rugby, but he's got speed, and he got around the fullback there, Jang. He couldn't make the cover tackle this time, and very important try for Japan 6 minutes before half time.
A very important try, at least when the guys go in at half time. They won't get such a big tongue lashing from Eddie.
I think they'll still be in for a few harsh words.
Yes, I'm sure they will. Goromaro with the kick and the conversion from just outside the 22, and it should be easy for him. He's kicked 2 already. And this one will bring the game back. Oh, see, that's called the commentator's curse, isn't it?
Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon.
He doesn't miss too many like that.
What is it, 17-15?
Important now that Japan just settle themselves down again from this kickoff. Obviously, the Koreans will be taking as much time as they can to take the kickoff. But if Japan can get one more score before the break, then, as I say.
Actually, interesting. I'm going to take you back to last night when we were chatting in the hotel, and you said something about the Koreans that they might start to flag a little bit after 20-25 minutes in the first half. And look at the clock, and the clock is saying, you know, I think you were spot on.
Yeah, well, obviously a lot of them don't play professionally in the sort of big leagues like in Japan, so fitness could be an issue.
Luke Thompson couldn't get a hold of that one, went off the fingertips and out over the line, so it's a throw in to Korea in a good position as well. Kim Jeep, the 25-year-old, 5 foot, I must remember, 5'8", he said. Not 5'7", I'm 5'8". He's
very adamant about that as well.
He's going to throw it in. Can they win it? They win it at the front of the line out. They will keep it up to try to take it forward, but the Japanese have taken it down. And the referee Tim Baker pointing at the number 3, Hatakeyama, and he's given the Koreans a penalty.
Young Jung's going to take the shot at goal here, just to try and stretch the lead as we come into the half-time break.
Tim Baker was right on the spot there, saw the infringement by Kenzo Hatakeyama, the captain, the new captain for the Japanese side. He is in place of Michael Leach, who's away in Super Rugby.
It was in outstanding form last night for the Chiefs, scored a try. And him and Tanaka have been doing very well for Japanese rugby down there in New Zealand, and they missed today actually. Eddie Jones could have done with their experience at the back of the scrum.
Let's see what Oh Young-hoon can do with this. It's at a bit of an angle, but he has a breeze behind him. Breeze has come back up again. Oh yes, from our position, straight through, get it off the side foot.
Beautifully struck kick. I mean, it was never any doubt that it wasn't going to go over. Superb kick, stretching the lead out to 5 points.
Actually, when he ran up to it, Rich, it looked as if it wasn't an effort, you know, he just stroked it.
Yeah, perfectly timed, well placed. Like a good golf shot.
I was going to say, I wish I could hit a 7-iron like that. 20 points to 15 in favor of Korea in this first of the Asia Rugby Championship for 2015. The 3 nations, 2 of them out on the park at the moment, battling it out, Japan and Korea. The third nation waiting for their opportunity to get involved in this Asia Rugby Championship, Hong Kong. And they'll be involved next week against this Korean side, and I'm sure that the Hong Kong team are looking at this and they will be impressed with the performance of the men in white at the moment out there. Here is the Japanese circling a good tackle, taking Luke Thompson out of it, but they can rotate it again, a very flat ball. The Koreans were up on it very, very quickly, and they were penalised, and says that the player came in from the wrong side, so it's going to give Kuramaru a chance, and he's going to put it into the corner. I thought he would have, at that distance, that was his sort of good distance for kicking, but he's decided I'm going to try and get an advantage with the clock counting down.
I guess the last time they did that from the line out, they got the driving ball going and Hayden Hopgood went over, so I guess they're looking for a repeat of that. But again, superb defence from the Koreans. Even though they gave away the penalty, the tackling has been outstanding.
There they go. Justin Ives was able to bring it down. The man with 23 caps, and now the push is on, the drive is on by the Japanese. The Koreans trying to hold them up. They're gone to ground. Hand-out advantage to the Japanese, but they still try to rotate it and keep it there. But there's no one on that far side. The scrum half is taken out of it. Hawassa, and
penalty try.
Penalty try. 2 infringements by the Koreans. Just as Hawassa was getting at the ball, that was his second attempt to get at the ball, and he's awarded the Japanese a penalty try. So just on half-time.
I don't think there can be any arguments really from the Koreans there, because Tim Baker had his hand out already for a penalty. He'd already warned them that they'd infringed once. He was playing the advantage. Hawassa was trying to pick the ball up, but taken out off the ball before he'd even got the ball in his hands, and so penalty try.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, Japan suddenly hit the lead before half-time.
Just before half-time, as I said earlier on, they were clawing their way back. They were 17-3 down at one stage. Then it was 17-10, so they have fought back, and now it's 22 points to 20. As Tim Baker says, we will have a restart, and there's only seconds left in this first half, but a very interesting first half, and a lot of thought and a lot of thinking to be done in both dressing sheds at half-time.
Yeah, I think the Koreans, obviously, they've done well, they've tackled superbly. The big question mark will be whether they can do that in the second half.
Yep, and that one went out on the full, so Tim Baker is going to take them back into the center, and Matthew Rodden, who's on this side of the ground, the assistant. So we're going to have a scrum right on the halfway line, right on half-time. Japan out by 22 points to 20 after struggling from 17-3 down to 17-10, and now to 22-20 in the lead. Wheeling at the scrum, but the Japanese are moving it forward. They keep it at the back through their number 8, Halani. And again, the Koreans are penalized, and the Japanese, can they add to the score? Again, good sidestep by Heskett. And this time the little scrum half wants to do it all on his own. Hawassi, but he's taken to ground. The ball is there for him. He's able to collect it. Goes out to Tatikawa. Tatikawa tries to get it out to the backs, and now they do. And can they get it across to Fujita? But going across to try and cover off the space over there, so they got to bring it back, rotated on this side. Short ball inside from Mikami. Now a little kick, and the kick ahead for Matsui. Can he get there? He's held it. Has he held it in touch? No, he hasn't. Foot on the line. He was a bit unlucky with the bounce of the ball, and Tim Baker decides that it's half-time, and there was a chance there for Matsui to show his speed again. He was able to get to it, but unfortunately at the way it bounced. And there's the half-time score in this Asia Rugby Championship for 2015. Korea 20, Japan 22. An interesting first half. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will bring you some of the highlights, and we'll get the opinion of my co-commentator, Rich Freeman, here in Incheon. 20-22 in favor of Japan at halftime.